So now it's time to join some text to the symbol, and we'll be starting with the star symbol composed of the surfboards. I've set up a new Illustrator document, and up top you can see that I have a copy of the mood board for inspiration for text, and I also have a copy of my pin board, which is also hung on my office wall. So I'll be using these two as very subtle inspiration as I come to match some text to the symbol. To acquire some fonts, I went to dafont.com and fontspace.com, as I've explained earlier. I've selected 4 fonts in total, the first 3 perhaps inappropriate, however the 4th was dead on, and I'm going to go on to manipulate it to make this perfect for this logo design symbol. So the fonts that I chose were these. And if I put the star next to each, we might be able to see how it's going to look. We could also place the star above if we wanted to, but we'll just keep it to the left hand side for now. I did like the first one, but it's a little too thin. The next one would look good, especially italicized, to emphasize a sense of speed perhaps, but it wasn't quite as good as the final font that I chose. The third font here was appropriate because of the spikiness in the N, which emphasizes point. The N is a letter in the word point, so that looked good. But the font that I chose was this one. And as you can see, as luck would have it, the I is actually a surfboard shape. So this jumped at me straight away, and besides the surfboard shapes, the lettering is good. This is what's known as an extended type of font, and there's lots of extended fonts in the mood board also. You can see Rip Curl is an extended font, Surf is an extended font, Tiki is an extended font also on the pin board. So if we scroll down again, being an extended font, this tends to be quite long. So what I intend to do is copy this so we retain the original font. And with the one at the bottom, we're going to go to type and create outlines. So this now creates the font, converts the font rather into shapes, and we can further manipulate the shapes more easily with this done. So I'm going to go to Object on Group, and I'm now going to put the point on the second line. With surfing beneath, this logo is going to run into 3 lines. So there we have it. This looks good as it stands. If we just scroll down a bit more to concentrate on this, as you'll see, the T's protruding outwards. So what we can do is we can move this towards the T so that both meld, and we'll also make sure that it's in line with the T above. If you press Ctrl and U, or you go to View Smart Guides to ensure your Smart Guides are on, you will get your green line to tell you when things are lined up. So there's adjustments to be made to the type, but we'll bring the star down. We'll copy that and we'll paste in, and we'll put that alongside to see how that looks. At a smaller size. There, although that looks good, I'd say the surfboard shapes in the text is making it a little too much. We've got a lot of surfboards in the star shape. That's got 5 surfboard shapes, but now we've got a further 2 in the text, which makes it a bit overkill. So I'm going to delete these, and I'm going to introduce 2 basic eye shapes. And to do this with guides on, I can click the anchor on the R, drag it upwards, and make the eye the same size as the stem of the R. Drag it across holding shift to keep it on the horizontal, and if we alt and copy across another one by dragging, clicking the left mouse button, and placing one down there. So now we zoom out to see how that looks, and that looks a lot better. That is a lot cleaner, and the emphasis on the surfboards is in the symbol itself now, and there's no distractions. Now we're just doing a bit of kerning to make things a little bit more perfect. We'll bring the S closer to the R, and we'll bring this T in further because it needs to align to the top one. Now let's go ahead and introduce the word surfing to the bottom of the logo. And I'm going to use a simple font for this because it is essentially the tagline. Font called Allah. Now I'm going to adjust this using the tracking in the character panel, and I'm going to take this to 2000 spacing between characters. Okay, I'm going to adjust that, set that beneath. That looks good. Now I'm going to move the star above to see what it looks like. In fact, we'll put both together. We'll enlarge it slightly now we've introduced surfing. So we'll take this to the top and we'll put one beneath just for comparison with the star above. I'll make that bigger. Okay, I've decided I want to run with the bottom one with the star above, so I'm going to copy this. So have our refinement all the way down the page, if you'll note, from the fonts to the font typed out to the font traced and stacked, and we do this as we progress. So now we have first point and surfing. What I'd like to do is add some form of highlight into this, because surfing just appears to be lost. So I'm going to introduce a black background using the square tool. I've drew a rectangle, and now I'm going to colour the surfing type white. And move that across. We'll group all of the text and highlight the star also, and go to Align Objects, Horizontal Align Center. This will ensure everything's centered. Whilst that looks good, I'm going to refine again by dragging down another copy. Now what I notice here about the star is the spacing isn't as wide as I'd like now that I've put it against the text. So it isn't too late to change your symbols. If you do find that they need some adjustments when you pair them with text, then do so. So I'll make this adjustment now, ungrouping the elements of the star, highlighting those two pieces to the left, and I'm just going to pull those out instead of using the keyboard. I'll use the keyboard for minor adjustments and to move this one up slightly. With that done, I'll delete the ones on the right. I'll copy this across, right mouse click, transform and reflect. With vertical checked, click OK, and I'm going to move this in. And highlight all, then group. If you want to make sure the star's perfect, we can do this. We'll copy across. We can make the compound shape in the Pathfinder panel, expand. We could use the rectangle tool to do as follows, and then we go to minus front, and then we're left with a half, and we can go to transform, reflect, vertical OK, and we can join this to that and both sides are exactly the same. So we make a compound shape again in the Pathfinder panel, make compound shape expand. So now we know this one's perfect, we'll bring it over here. And we'll center all again using the align tool, horizontal align center. So let's make another copy, Alt and Shift. See if we can refine this further. How could this look better? Perhaps point could sit upon a box like this, and surfing could just return to black, be a little bit larger. So bring this up. Send this rectangle to the back and colour the text. Oh, we haven't grouped the text. Highlight all of the point text and go to Object Group. Put this rectangle behind and we'll highlight the word point and we'll colour it white. Now we'll adjust it to fit into the rectangle. Zooming in. A little bit more. And that looks quite squashed, so we'll highlight the entire thing, including the box, and we'll pull down. Object and group, because I just want to fix this I, which is a little bit unkerned, and the P needs to move across very slightly. Highlight all, go to group, and move that up slightly, and we'll group all, including the box, and we'll move surfing and the box down very slightly. So I think this one looks better than the one at the top, but we'll refine further. We'll pull another one down with Alt and Shift, and we'll zoom in. Put that surfing in the center. We'll highlight all and we'll click Align, Horizontal Align Center again. Oops. Making sure first is grouped, horizontal line center. See, the surfing still needs some adjustment there. Give it a little bit more space. Highlight all, make a copy, drag down. Now I'm going to go to type and create outlines. This will make shapes out of the surfing font, the text. So with that done, I want to see what else I can do with this text to give it some life. So I'm going to highlight all of the text. I'm going to go to group, and then I'm going to go to effect. Now I'm going to go to warp. Now I'm going to go to bulge. Now on the bulge, I can move it forwards to bulge outwards, or I can bend it inwards. Now this is beginning to look good. So although that looks a bit flat at the moment, we can pull it downwards to be taller to compensate. So let's try this. We click OK, and that's the result. You can see it taking on a surfing kind of vibe. Now highlight all and pull down to make a copy. Go down again. Now I'm pleased with this result, so I highlight all and I go to Object, Expand Appearance. So this now makes the logo conform to the effect that was applied. So there we have it, the completed logo using the Starve surfboards. Now all we have to do is the colouring process.